Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the Urban Sean channel. So today in this episode, I'll be talking about the dietary management of leaky bladder syndrome. Leaky bladder syndrome is a condition where you have lost the braking system that you're supposed to rely on whenever you have that urge to pee. Therefore, what happens is that majority of the patients or majority of the victims end up wetting themselves involuntarily. This because that braking system has already failed, and this is caused by a deficiency of vitamin B1, also known as thiamine. Therefore, to be able to control this condition, what you have to do is reduce the loss of vitamin B1 and at the same time increase its uptake in the diet. Therefore, you can do the following. First, you have to cut off all sources of sugar. And this might look like a brutal advice, but actually sugar causes the reduction of your vitamin B1 storage, your vitamin B1 levels in your body. And to explain it briefly is that if this phone is my bloodstream and it's full of glucose, for me to move this phone into my hand, which is my cell, I'm requiring vitamin B1 besides insulin or even besides the potassium I'm supposed to use. Therefore, what happens is that I'm going to use a lot of my own vitamin B1 stores to move it, because when you refine carbohydrates and result with sugar is that you have lost all the vitamin B1. And so most food manufacturers, what they'll do, they will fortify the food, but most of the fortified version is not the natural version. It might be synthetic or it might be less bioavailable as compared to the natural version. So these sources of sugar include your table sugar, your honey, the sweets you take, artificial sweeteners, jam, chocolates, energy drinks, sodas, flavored yogurts, and sweetened maziwa mala. Secondly, you're supposed to cut off all refined grains. This means your white ugali, your grade 1 ugali, the white rice, and even wheat flour, because it's quite hard to find the unrefined version of wheat flour or wheat flour products. And the alternative is actually to replace these carbohydrates with the starchy vegetables. These starchy vegetables include the sweet potatoes, the cassavas, the arrowroots, the pumpkins, the matoke, and even the githeri. And githeri, the good thing is that the husk itself is not removed, because majority of the vitamin B1 is contained in the husk of grains. You can even opt for the grade 2 ugali to avoid inconveniencing you a lot, because when you dehusk these grains, you are removing majority of the vitamin B1. And remember, every carbohydrate will finally become glucose. So if you're using your own vitamin B1 storage units to be able to reduce or to normalize your blood sugar levels, it means that you'll end up with a deficiency, and that's not what you want, because you'll end up with leaky bladder syndrome. The third thing is now to increase your intake of vitamin B1 rich foods, and this includes pork and nutritional yeast. Now, pork is the richest source of vitamin B1 above every other food. You also have the nutritional yeast. Now, nutritional yeast, you can use it as a spice whenever you are doing your eggs, whenever you're doing your meat, or whenever you're doing your vegetables. But now, nutritional yeast is different from baker's yeast and brewer's yeast. This is a form of dead yeast. It's not a live culture of yeast. And you can be able to get it from Health You. Not that I work with Health You, but I've seen they actually sell it at about 1,500 shillings. So it's a bit costly because it's not a live form of yeast, though it will give you good levels of vitamin B1. The other thing you can do is actually resort into supplementation. Now, the most potent version is benfotiamine, benfotiamine. Now, this has the best version of the most bioavailable vitamin B1, and it can help you to be able to reduce that loss or to be able to get that sense back of the urge to, the braking system that you use whenever you're about to go for a short call. Now, the last thing is actually control your water intake, especially at night, because it results, majority of the times, can make you wet your bed involuntarily. So to be able to avoid this uncomfortable, or to avoid this to avoid this happening, is actually just avoid consuming water at night, so that by the time you have gone to bed, you have emptied your bladders. And so if there will be an urge to pee, it will be until in the morning, when you have already taken your cup of coffee or your cup of tea. So those are the 6 ways of management of leaky bladder syndrome, and you can share it with anyone who is experiencing this condition. And as well as if you have ever gone through this condition and also managed it in another way, you can also share it in the comment section to be able to enable someone else who is experiencing it to find another alternative route as well. So thank you for watching, and remember to share, like, comment, and subscribe.